Okay, so we are live. Himanshu, shall we wait a few seconds or let's just start?
Normally we wait for a minute.
Okay,
How many people have
okay,
joined? So
yeah,
I think let's start
okay,
here. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So, today's topic for the session is consent banners don't work today. So, what's your compliance strategy, or what's the future compliance strategy that should be followed by the organizations? I am Hiral, and I'll be the moderator for this session. So, to our audience, thank you so much for taking up the time and joining us. Feel free to ask any questions throughout the session. Just put them in the comment box, and we'll definitely try to answer all those questions throughout the session or towards the end of it. So today we have two experienced experts with us, Ms. Grishmi Koka and Mr. Himanshu Gautam. So Ms. Grishmi is a data protection officer for Asia Pacific region at Franklin Templeton, and then there is Himanshu Gautam. So he is a founder and CEO at Go Trust. So I would ask the speakers to introduce themselves for the sake of the audience. So starting with Ms. Grishmi, please tell us a bit about your journey, your experience, your expertise for the audiences.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is Grishmi. I'm a protection officer for APAC region for Franklin Templeton. Um so I'm by profession a lawyer and who was interested into data privacy and jumped into this field right after my graduation. Um, I've worked through right across many works for data privacy in APAC region, including implementation of privacy programs for our company in Australia, Singapore, and other regions as well. Currently, I'm working for India DPDPA compliance too, um, and I have close relation in working on cookie consent banners because this is something which is a combination of tech and legal. So I'm hoping to share all insights that I've learned through my experience on this concept today.
Thank you so much, Grishmi. Over to you, Himanshu. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, thank you, Grishmi. Thank you, Hiral. Hi, this is Himanshu. I'm the founder and CEO of GoTrust. We started the journey of making the world compliant to the data policies and the data acts and other compliances frameworks around the globe. Current today's focus will be how we should comply on the consent part with the DPDPA, especially focused on the Indian context. And I hope our discussion today will make some sense to you in your day-to-day activities while you are working on the compliancing, making sure your company is compliant towards the data privacy laws, which are available in India and which are applicable in India. Sorry for my word. So back to you, Hiral. Let's kick it off.
Okay, so let's jump into the topic straight. So, as we all know, in today's privacy centric digital landscape, traditional cookie and consent banners do not work because users have become like used to them. They are desensitized. They are blindly clicking the accept all button without understanding what they are consented to. So, and the regulators have taken notice to this one. So, with DPDPA in India, with GDPR, CIPRA, the regulators are trying to make the consent banners more purpose driven, user centric, and auditable consent. So, these are the expectations today. So, how do organizations adapt? This webinar particularly brings together the data privacy leaders to explore what modern compliance looks like beyond the banner. Okay, so let's start with setting the context. So let's talk about what are the traditional pointers or the things that do not work in the consent banners. So Krishmi, would you like to start?
Yes, definitely. So, the concept of consent banners started, as you all know, from the EU's 2009 e-privacy directive, and it slowly ingrained into lives of every business uh, with its through the adoption of GDPR and so forth going forward. And nowadays, uh, the concept of consent banners just became like a check-in box process. So nothing. Since though we see exceedingly hefty fines by GDPR and giving penalties to these large organizations, but uh, we are seeing a concept, and this click and accept model concept is kind of failing because of some of the reasons that includes like dark patterns, banner configurations with dark patterns, having complex opt-out options, or using implied consents into these cookie banners. This usually creates compliance gaps uh, while implementing these banners, which also uh, raises a huge concern as to and creates a bridge between the business gap as well as the privacy compliance gap. So these are one of the main reasons. So when we generally talk about these banners, what we think about is usually from the typical user experience perspective. Any user just wants to click the banner through to access the content whatever's in the website. So not every time a business, any individual might look into and read through the context. Though this might be, putting out dark patterns into this website might be an opportunity to, track and do intrusive perspection of the of and tracking into the user's data. But also we must keep in into the back of our heads a perspective that by using these kinds of patterns and using this type and creating this type of behavior into the patterns, we are losing the trust of these our users. And nowadays users are also getting more privacy efficient. They are also understanding the concept of data. And I think moving forward we have to learn towards how to build a proper banner which concerns and talks about this.
Yes, yes, definitely. So, like these are the dark patterns, I would say. The some of the regulators pointed out that these are the dark patterns that should not be followed, should be completely ignored in the banner, because although the banner is kept, but if they are following these dark patterns, so they will be declared non-compliant for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Krishmi. Himanshu, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, I think another aspect to this was from the marketing side. So if I don't get a consent, right, for the companies, they will not be able to do the marketing. So it's like chicken and egg problem, right? If the banners are very explicit, uh, and then they don't, and customers don't get, sorry, the companies do not get consent, so they cannot also do send marketing emails, newsletters, and further other things. So the solution is not very simple to this problem, and we'll discuss further. But I think we also need to understand that there is a intrinsic motivation from the end user. There should be intrinsic motivation from the end user to give the consent, and the benefits are long term, because once the customer knows it's a trustworthy company, it's processing my data in a good way. So basically, you're going to gain the brand loyalty. for that customer. Therefore, the consent banner in the new world has to be with a different motto, first of all, and also the context of the banner has to be different. Those click and bait kind of marketing gimmicks will not be successful anymore. Otherwise, there's a heavy penalty also linked to it. So
Yeah.
that's my take on it, and let's move on to the other
Thank you,
aspects.
Himanshu. So, we just talked about what should not be done. So, now let's talk about what should be done. What should be there in the consent banners today? So, some of the points in which are layered consent or granular consent. So, I would like Grishmi to detail these points for the audience.
Yeah, sure. So ideally, any consent banner should have a combination of these three mentioned in the profile, mentioned in the presentation. So layered consent. Layered consent means providing, information in digestible stages, like first providing a summary first, and then going into the deeper options that are available further. So that uh, when an user is looking through the banner from a first perspective, he has to understand a clear summary of what he is accepting the terms into, and if further needed, then he should able to, if he further wants to understand more about the terms, then he have to click through to understand the deeper nuances of it. So the second concept is granular consent, which means that le- it's the concept of let users pick and choose uh, whatever that might be providing. Uh, Sorry, I lost you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Okay, okay. Um, so, for example, a user want might to accept analytics cookie, but he wants to reject marketing cookie. So there must be a clear, plain language and a clear description, which users are able to consent to what type of cookies they want to consent for and what they do not want to. So providing this granular details of what cookies they are able to consent and what not to, also the helps in the engagement and compliance while respecting the autonomy. And the third one is dynamic consent, which means offering the ability to modify preferences over time. So it, the concept of consent banners, it's an ever going concept. It's when any especially when cookie in kinds of consent banners, when we use third party cookies as such, we definitely want to notify the users with respect to the consent requirements. And it is al- almost the dynamics change, and when we use a new adding partners or when we update our dashboards, we always try to ask consent over and over again. So helping by introducing the concept of dynamic consent, you are able to ask for a consent through the ongoing collection of data on the ongoing data collection process, and also helps you to keep in compliance with the regulations. So ideally, any consent banner should have the options, a concept, the layered, granular, and dynamic consent all wrapped in together. So it becomes totally compliant, not just for GDPR, but also for any privacy law in place, and also builds user trust.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Grishmi. So, Himanshu, would you like to add something? I would also like you to discuss on our next topic with this, like what are the CMP or the consent management platform's role in building these kind of banners, as you are founder of GoTrust CMP. So, I would like to add few points there also.
Sure, definitely. Can we go to the next slide? I think
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, thank you. So, first of all, what Grishmi said is perfectly correct about how detailed and how granular it should be. Now, the role of the CMPs are in the market is how configurable and how easy it is that they facilitate such services. to the consumers. Basically, consumers in this case are the companies who has to provide the consent banner to the end customer. So we're talking about the middleman, which is a company basically. Now, what approach we have taken is we have our solution is capable to provide uh, certain level of customization, which can be form based, multiple templates in the forms. Then it capable of to provide API based, so the customer, in case this is the company who's gonna create the banner, can design their own banners, because I will come to that why that's important. And then other way around is to collect the historic consents if you have already collected, and now you have to make sure that the consents are complied or not. So you need to make sure you have all that information. So all this that is collected. Now it goes multiple folds. Number one was at the consumption side, where a form or some kind of link is provided to the end consumer where he or she can give his consent. Although the consent has to be granular, but the purpose for the consent has to be mentioned very specifically in the text. Whether you are taking a consent via SMS, WhatsApp, or via form, doesn't matter, but the purpose has to be very specific. Now, not only this, what we have done to make sure the companies are really compliant, that even the employees in the company are not creating a banner which is not fulfilling the purpose of the collecting that specific data. So what we did is we linked the consent purpose to the department, to the process of the company, and to the department, the respective department of the company. And once you do a ROPA or for the department, you already know which PIIs are linked to it, which third parties are part of that department, and a specific process. Then that process case. So once you start building your consent form, the consent purpose is automatically generated from this first stack, where means from the ROPA we already have a consent purpose. So this helps you to do a 360 control over not only the consent banner, but also how the company is consuming that data for from that consent. So if I'm collecting phone number, email ID for onboarding purposes, let's say customer onboarding, then in the ROPA, in the purpose, in the process, it should also be mentioned that these two PIs are collected. So this is the way you're linking the consent to the ROPA. And if you're able to do that, then you are making sure that as a CMP, you are fulfilling 360 view of privacy, not only towards the end customer, but also towards the organizations who are consuming your platform. So that's the role I think CMP has to play. And then there's multiple more things I think we'll discuss further, like retention and other aspects of the consent, the expiry of consent. But let's move on, and then we'll discuss about it in the further aspects. Few more things which we'll also be discussing about on the consent banner, because now the consent, when we said granular, it's also tagged to a certain specific frameworks, certain specific regulations across the globe wherever you are. So geofencing becomes very important. So if you are in a multi-geography environment, then the banner cannot be same. And now please do not confuse with the cookie consent banner and the first party consent banner, because we normally call CMP, and then we mix the cookie consent with the first party consent. They both look similar because the process and the flows are all same, but the purpose is very different, and how they are consumed also very different. So we have to make sure that that part is very well taken care in the companies. Then specifically adding a bit more on the cookie side. See, cookies, it at a basis are not personal, but what happens is we are consuming the Google, we are using opening website on a Google browser, then the Google is tagging those cookies to my session, and then when I'm logging my session on another device, then Google knows that these cookies were on that specific device, so it brings into the other device because you're logged in, and therefore it becomes personal. So in India, when I had a chat with a lot of companies, they said we do not do anything with the cookie data, so why should we have a cookie banner? So I have to explain them it's not about you, it's more of the marketing, because then the marketing purposes, for analytical purposes, you're using the Google Analytics, and therefore you are making your cookies personal, not directly but indirectly, and hence you have to have the cookie consent banner implemented as per DPDPA. So those are the few things. We can go in more detail, but yeah, looking at the time, 9 minutes left. So let's move on. Otherwise, we'll not be able to finish the key topics.
Okay. Thank you so much, Himanshu and Grishmi, for your great discussion. So, moving ahead, so what are the other legal bases beyond consent? So, that are practical today and that can be looked out for. So, Grishmi, I would like you to start on this.
Yes. So I would like to have some points to what Himanshu has said. So one is regarding what he talked about consent platform. So specifically talking in with relation to the India's DPDPA, the concept of consent manager has come in where individuals have the right to delegate a person to process the concept of consent. So in this scenario, usually the CPMs have a great role to deal with. They should also help the it having a CPM helps to handle and cooperate with the consent managers and to develop solutions on the full consent lifecycle process. And uh, having a CPMs also help us to see it from a user perspective, and also help in audit trials and everywhere as such from compliance perspective. And coming on to other lawful basis, uh, we know that apart from consent is the first most the best most option for a lawful base. But other than that, you have the option of legitimate interest and as well as contractual necessity. But while using this practices consent consent management, the main things businesses or CPMs have to see is if this concepts are being used, whether they are being justified as to the what purpose that they are being used for, and whether they are being documented, and also whether they are being communicated transparently that these are the lawful basis that you are using it for, um, as 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 apart from consent. That is the main particular thing. And also assessing users perception, building a privacy first culture is always a good to have, though not every country has similar privacy laws. Each country is own on its basis. Having a first culture in within your organization, showing it while integrating your within the UX patterns or within the user interface patterns, just helps with you to provide and flow in a smoothful manner, help your business flow in a smooth manner, uh, and provide like a protection wall, uh, with not facing any legal bars or issues further.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely correct. So, Himanshu, would you like to add something to this?
No, I think it's perfectly correct. Let's move on to the topic. Otherwise, we'll miss
Yeah,
the next ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you audit, or how does one audit and future proof the consent strategy? Okay, so Grishmi, would you like to take this one?
Yes. Audit. I think this is the most important factor for if it either for consent banners or cookies or for CPMs, uh, to see not just in accordance, just doing it in accordance with GDPR, CPA, or India DPDPA compliance, but also auditing your consent practices just as general also helps in you to understand what type of data that you're collecting, your data mapping flows, and how that would help in with you with your user interface connection. Like monitoring opt-in rates, or you know how your uh, the you can maybe bring in some of the new ideas about your banner engagement, and then maybe if there are any user complaints, you can optimize, based on that. So auditing and it is like a combination. So you have to do auditing plus an adaptive consent framework which changes dynamically from time to time, uh, will help in the banner engagements and will help in opt-in models and monitor opt-in models, and also help in understand how users are perceiving through this consent managing techniques. And uh, they definitely a compliance roadmap should definitely be on the back of mind. So privacy by design is a concept where whatever that you create, privacy should always be on your thoughts while creating it as such. So I think when all three of these concepts are done together, the privacy compliance will automatically add to its way, and you can definitely future proof the consent strategy going forward.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, Himanshu,
Yeah, I
over to
think
you.
the point of auditing is very important because at end, once the DSRs are raised, and we have to validate whether the consent was taken in a correct way or not. Auditing becomes the very important part of it, and as CMP, audit view has to be part of your consent platform. And then one very thing which mentioned by Grishmi was the banner engagement. So that also becomes very interesting because you need to know how good your, uh, people are engaging with your banner. They're just clicking and going forward, or basically they're moving on with and reading the through what they're clicking. So that becomes very important. And then on top of it, like it's mentioned also, auditing consent practices, adaptive consent frameworks, privacy by design, and compliance roadmap with the gap analysis. These becomes the key for the success of very good audit system within the consent platform. So we have to execute all of this. Yeah, back
Yes,
to you. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So, yes, so thank you so much, Grishmi and Himanshu. This was definitely a great discussion around the cookie consent banners. So, would you like to add some concluding points to this, Grishma?
Yeah, sure. Uh, I so we usually hear about the concepts of cookie compliance or consent banners or whatever that's through newses via legal cases that all these large organizations have hefty fines imposed on them for not complying in with the law, etc., etc. But what we have to keep in mind that the concept of privacy laws is moving at a very fast pace all across the globe. It's not just GDPR anymore, but it's every country is taking consent as a very serious concept, and it's not just the large organization, but the small and medium organizations will also affect to it, and they are also highly chances that they might face privacy compliance issues when not followed uh, in in a compliant when not followed privacy in a compliant manner. So we can say that this is not just a legal requirement anymore, but it's more like a chance to earn a user's trust by using privacy concepts and helping design this consent banners according to a user's trust, user first perspective, and help this more to a competitive edge perspective rather than a compliance perspective.
I totally agreed on this part because the new world talks about the trust, where the trust is coming and AI is coming into the world. Trust becomes the new normal, and then to gain the end customer's trust, the only way is to have one of the ways to have very clear consent and explain him why we are taking his data and what we're going to do with the data. So I totally agree on that part. And as a CMP platform provider, we make sure that the trust is built. It's easy to collect consent, and in a very explicit way, it's also visible, and make it very easy, very simple. It should be multilingual. in the context that whatever language you read, or it should be adopting to your default browser language, which a language you are have adopted basically. So those are the things I think are very important, and I hope discussion went very well, and our
Yes.
listeners must have liked it. So back to you,
Yeah.
Hiral, for the closing
Yeah.
remarks.
So
Uh,
yeah. Thank you so much, Grishma, Himanshu. This was a absolutely great learning session for me, as well as the audience must have gained a very much clarity on this topic. That what are the things that do not work or do work in the current landscape of privacy. So thank you, audiences, for joining us for your participation. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day. Stay
Grishma.
tuned for
Thank you,
updates.
Hiral. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.